And we're back and inside the ropes, and our latest interviewee is a man who was synonymous with the WWF in the mid-1990s as part of the colourful duo of Men on a Mission. And then in 1995, he became a Sir through the King of the Ring. He was one part of Men on a Mission. It is Mo. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thanks, sir. Glad to be here.
And I guess the first question that everybody kind of wants to know when they kind of look back at your time in wrestling is how did you end up in the WWF in 1993 yourself and Mabel? How did that all come about?
Oh, we were working together as a tag team in Memphis, Tennessee for the USWA, which was a part of their developmental system then. And upon working there probably 40, 45, 50 days, got seen by Vince McMahon, was invited up for a tryout, and that tryout went well.
So I guess the interesting part as well is that when you worked before you got to the WWF, you guys were a sort of villain tag team at points, and then you came to the WWF and you became Men on a Mission. Whose idea was the characters of Mo and Mabel, and how was that pitched to you when you got there?
Well, that was all Vince McMahon's idea. He created the characters, the names, and the whole plot behind everything. We came up with the colors of the outfits and the look itself with the Mohawk's blonde for Mabel and the blonde and black stripes for myself was something that we created just because we want to have a very recognizable look beyond just our size.
And what did you think about the characters? What did you think about the Men on a Mission gimmick when you first heard about it? Were you happy to do it because it was obviously something different?
Well, I mean, yeah. All you have is you sit down at a table and you come up with names, character names, and an idea of where these characters come from. As far as ways, means, and actions, all of that stuff is just developed as time goes on. It's like you really don't know how the character's really supposed to portray itself or be portrayed. It just develops on its own. Because if you noticed in the beginning, when we came to the ring, Oscar and myself would be jolly and happy, and Mabel would always have the folded arms and be serious and mad all the time. And then he eventually evolved into this big, jolly, happy giant, which made the entire thing fun. And so it kind of took a life of its own.
And you mentioned Oscar there, and Oscar obviously would accompany you guys to the ring and do the raps. How did you first meet Oscar? Was he always going to be a part of it? Did they want someone to kind of rap for you guys to come to the ring?
In fact, actually, when we went up for our tryout, we actually met Oscar that day in the limousine on the ride from the airport on the way to the WWF corporate offices. And I mean, they had Oscar tagged in to do something from the year prior to it. They just didn't know what until they found Mabel and myself, and they put us three together.
And there you go. And a lot of wrestlers that were active around that time period in the WWF talk about the schedule and how often you guys had to work. So what was a typical week like for you guys when Men on a Mission took off?
In the beginning, because Monday Night Raw was a new thing, a new concept. It was just really getting developed. In the beginning, we'd leave out on a Thursday, and we would be gone 22 days, come home for 2.5 days, leave out again and be gone 11 days, come home and be home 2.5 days, leave out again and be gone another 11 days. So we were away from home about 22 days a month. You know, I mean, it was constantly up early in the morning, getting on planes or driving 300 or 400 miles, or, getting on a plane like with the international tours, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, catching a flight from New York to London, England, landing at London Heathrow, and you catching a bus driving 4 hours to get to the hotel or to the first venue, and then leaving there and then driving another 4 hours. So the schedule was just mad crazy. You very rarely had time to go home and do laundry and pay bills before Jack Doan, Undertaker was cool with Yokozuna, Samu, Savio Vega, Davey Boy Smith.
And in 1994, you would end up being part of the Royal Rumble match. And what's it like being part of a Royal Rumble match in terms of, how precise is it in terms of everyone knowing what they're doing and who they're going to work with and who's going to eliminate them? Is it very meticulous, or was it very meticulously planned out, or was it more kind of sort of just freestyle and you knew the bare minimum that you needed to know?
It's just you just go out there and it's every man for himself, and then it's not like thoroughly planned out. But you pretty much know how long you're supposed to stay, and you got to kind of keep that in your head, and you can do that by just determining, every 2 minutes someone new enters the ring. So if you're supposed to stay in 10 minutes, after that fifth person gets into the ring, it's time for you to go. The fifth person after you, once that fifth person after you comes to the ring, you pretty much know it's time to go.
Yeah. And then obviously later that year you were part of WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden in the tag team title match with the Quebecers, and it was like the WWF had overloaded on celebrities that year. There was Little Richard and Burt Reynolds and all these people. What was that experience like at WrestleMania 10? What are your memories of that?
Oh, wow. It was incredible. It was, just to be in that particular pay-per-view, on that particular pay-per-view, in that venue, and in that spot, wrestling for the tag title. If you're a young kid as a wrestling fan, that's what you dream about. You dream about wrestling at WrestleMania. You dream about wrestling for a championship, and how many people can say that, they wrestled in a pay-per-view of that magnitude, WrestleMania, for a championship. Wrestling in WrestleMania for a championship, win, lose, or draw, would be like playing in the World Cup championship. Even though you lost, you were there. You were in the World Cup, So, it doesn't get any better than that. It's just a feeling that you really can't describe, because it's a lot of excitement, and it's overwhelming, and all that.
Yeah, and one of the other things that one of the other people you worked with in 1995 was you main evented a show with the Undertaker as well, and he's one of these guys that he's quite mysterious because he never really does interviews and people don't really know what he's like. So from your experiences, what was it like working with the Undertaker, and what was he like?
It's like a night out, man. Like a night off, working with the guy that has as much talent as he has, and it's just so easy because you just dance, you do your thing, he does his thing, and it's like, wow, here I am, it's main event match on, I guess that was a Raw program. Yes, that was a Monday Night Raw program against The Undertaker. Wow. What can you say? And it wasn't It wasn't a situation where I went out there and he just squashed me, beat me up in 2 or 3 minutes, and it was over and done with. It wasn't even that. So that made it even more so. So, and I had a match prior to SummerSlam in '95 against Kevin Nash. I think I worked him in a singles match also. That probably went 12 or 14 minutes. Had a really good match with him. So I've been given some opportunities that I have sat back and totally forgot about, hadn't even thought about in years. You know, I've sat back saying, man, I didn't have no kind of career. I didn't do anything. But when I look back on it, at some of the tapes and some of the matches, you know, I was actually in the ring from 94 through 95 with some of the top guys in the business. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Undertaker. You know, for that whole period of 94, the last part of 94, and then when I came back in 95, from the whole time of 95, we worked top guys. We didn't work mid-card, or we worked top guys the whole time. Because we went from, in March when we turned heel, we went to Smoky Guns and we turned on them. They lost the belts. We went on to In Your House and we worked Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and Savio Vega. Went from there, we worked the Allied Powers, and then Lex Luger left, went from the Allied Powers against Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash. Then Kevin Nash into SummerSlam. From SummerSlam, we went against The Undertaker into the next In Your House pay-per-view and a coffin match against The Undertaker. I mean, all through 95, we worked top guys the entire year.
And I get the last kind of question I had about the Undertaker was, some people talk about the fact that he's a locker room leader. Was he at that point in 1995 yet of being a kind of the go-to guy in the locker room?
Yeah, from the time I got there in '93, Hogan was leaving, and Undertaker was the leader of the locker room. I mean, he was a guy that everybody respected, everybody looked up to, nobody disrespected, and he was the guy. I mean, he wasn't the guy that walked around, you know, with his chest stuck out, being all cocky or whatever. I mean, he was helpful. You know, it wasn't about him. It was what was good, you know. It was what was good, you know, for the entire company. I hate using that word, what's best for business, but what was good for the entire company, you know. And so, yeah, he was a leader at that time. And I'm, you know, he was one of those guys that wasn't influenced in either way, positive or negative, by the actions of, you know, the clique, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, you know, those guys. He wasn't influenced either positive or negative in either way. You know, he had his spot. You know, there was nothing that they could say or do or anybody else that was gonna, you know, take away from who and what the Undertaker was to that company. And still to this day, no one can. So, yeah, he was always a leader.
Just to kind of close this out, one of the guys that you've mentioned before that I guess is kind of he did the rapping gimmick in the 2000s was John Cena. What do you think about John Cena as a performer? Do you think the kind of rap gimmick that he has suits him?
When he first appeared there,
yeah,
it suited him because, number one, it was different. It was different. You if you would stop and take a look back at everything that they're doing in WWE right now, most of the gimmicks, characters, it's funny. But if you look at it, John Cena, Ron Killings, Too Cool 2, all of those characters, even Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon when they come out to the ring to rap music, all of those characters are an extension of Men on a Mission.
And
all of those characters are an extension of Men on a Mission. And for John Cena to come out doing the rap thing at the time, it was good because also at the same time, Eminem was real big. You know what I mean? And WWE is a pop culture tycoon. That's what that company is right now. It's all about pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
From the characters to the music, it's not about hard rock. It's not about country. It's about pop culture. Just look at it. Every aspect of it is about pop culture. So.
And are you surprised?
I think that.
Are you surprised that, again, we mentioned it was around 20 years ago that you came into the WWF. Are you surprised that The Undertaker is still going? Even though it's once a year now, are you surprised that he's still going out there every year at WrestleMania and arguably having the best match?
If you're running a race against a guy that has been running every day for 30 days, right,
mm-hmm.
and they're tired, and you go out there and you run one race, okay, you're going to be able to go longer and last longer than the person that's been running all the time. And what I mean by that is, Mark is talented, but if would he he's earned the right to, he's earned his spot. You cannot take anything from him. And some of the other guys, they're so used to doing the same thing over and over again, and they develop bad habits over and over. See, Mark don't get in the ring with people that he can develop bad habits with. He's not put in the ring with somebody that he's got to carry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he's put in the ring with the best of the best. And it's like Michael Jordan. You put him on the court with the best of the best, he's gonna shine. That's why he don't play pickup games.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not putting the Undertaker in the ring with somebody like a Ryback who has absolutely no talent.
You're not a fan of Ryback?
No. No, sir. He has no talent. He's just a muscle head. He has no talent, no ability. He was the main event in the Hell in the Cell for WWE in 2012. 2012, Hell in the Cell, Atlanta, Georgia, and I was in the building, and he's not main event material, and you stick a microphone in his hand. He has absolutely no charisma, and in his wrestling, he's like a robot. When he can get out there and go like a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk, then okay, you're impressing me. If you can pick up the microphone and talk like a Daniel Bryan or CM Punk, then okay, you can impress me. Anybody can stick a needle in their butt and put on some pounds. That's not impressive to me.
And I'm guessing that the guys that you enjoy watching now are guys like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan.
You know what? I'm not a CM Punk fan. I'm not saying that I don't like his work or nothing. I'm not a CM Punk fan. I like Randy Orton. I like Daniel Bryan. Let's see, who else is a great worker? Shawn Michaels. He's not. We're not buddies. I'm not a fan of him as a person, but as a talent, there's none better. I like Triple H's work. CM Punk's work. I love his work, but I'm not a big fan of the CM Punk character. I'm not a big fan of that. But I'm one of these people, man. If you can't go out there and go, like for example, dust, gold dust.
Mm-hmm.
Even at his age, he can go out there and he can go with anybody. And he's proven that. He's come back. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's proven that he can still do it. You know, I'm a big fan of people that can go out there and just flat out go. We talk about work. You know, not just somebody that just comes out. And CM Punk can flat out go. He can work. I'm not saying he can't, but somebody like a Ryback, I'm not impressed with. Khali is a novelty. You know, he's just, you know, Khali's a novelty. I'm not a fan of the Big Show. I'm not a fan of the Big Show because there again, he's a novelty. You know, and I've gotten a lot of heat from things that I've said, but you know, truth is the truth, and that's just my opinion. He's a novelty. You know, some of those guys are novelty. Some of those guys are not there because they're great athletes. That's not. I probably wasn't there because I was a great athlete. I was probably there because my tag team partner was 6'10", 500 pounds, and that's okay. You know, I'm okay with that. You know, I've never professed to be some superhero, some legend, some superstar. So I'm okay in my own skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I can understand why some fans love some people, some fans don't. And it's all about character and charisma, man. It's about, you know, what do you see that person when he steps out of that ring? Is he going to be an arrogant, cocky asshole or not? Well, you know, Ryback is just that. He has no talent.